think it's time to take a shower. But I ran out of soap, so I gotta make a fresh batch. So I've been making my own soap for a few years now. I do it, for fun as a craft. But the best part for me is designing the fragrance. So later on, I'll show you my collection of raw materials that are used to make fragrance blends for soap making. But yeah, I usually like every few months, I'll make a big batch. I give some of it to friends and family, and then it lasts me for a really long time. I have bars of soaps that I keep in the closet. Yeah, so the first part is measuring out all the ingredients. I have my recipe here of oils and fats that I mix up, and that's what I'm gonna measure first. So the first step is canola oil, and I'm making a smaller batch. I usually make, I have a few of these, that's like a kilogram, like 1,000 grams of soap, like one loaf of soap, and then I cut it into bars. And I have, I think, 6 of these, but today I'm only gonna make one loaf. All right, so canola oil, I put in 400 grams for this. Okay, put a little too much. Yeah, that's about right. So the recipe calls for liquid oils and solid fats. And I designed this recipe to include fats that will give different properties to the soap. For example, you could make soap with only coconut oil, but that makes a bar that's very cleansing. It's very harsh. So after you wash your hands or in the shower or whatever, then the skin feels really dry and sort of tight. So I only put a little bit of it, just 200 grams. And I melted in the microwave with the other solid fats. So I'm gonna measure up 200 grams of this. Why am I using this spatula spoon here for that? So yeah, usually I don't really care about the look of it, as in I don't put colors or make fancy tops like you see on Instagram and whatnot. People make really fancy soap designs. I'm really more about designing the fragrance. But today I think I want to try to make a marbled soap. So I'm gonna have 2 colors. One is gonna be black and then white. I'm gonna try this swirly look. I've never done it, so we'll see how it comes out. Okay. The other butter that I add in is cacao butter. That makes the bars a little more solid. So the cacao butter I'm using now is unrefined, so it makes it a little bit it smells like chocolate. So the bar might smell a little bit like chocolate, although I don't put too much of it, so it might be fine. So that's 50 grams. That's a little too much. Just gonna cut it on here. Oh, fuck. The knife. Okay, that's good enough. I'm making a mess here. The remaining fat is palm oil. 290 grams. All right, so we're done measuring this. I'm gonna go put this in a microwave to melt it down and then mix it up into with the liquid oils. And then I'll move on to measuring the sodium hydroxide, which is the lye, and mixing it with the water to make the lye solution that will saponify the oils. Okay, so the fats are melted, well, almost completely melted. I'm just gonna put it aside until all of the lumps are gone and the bubbles kind of fizzle out. And next is the lye. Now, lye is very dangerous, so you really need to wear eye protection when working with lye, and actually gloves also. I need to get some gloves. I got my gloves. So yeah, you gotta be very careful. You could go blind if some of it gets into your eyes, and you can get really nasty skin rashes if you get it on your skin. The other thing with lye is that when it mixes with water, it it gets really hot and makes an exothermic reaction. So I usually like start by measuring the water. I put in some ice and then add in the lye to it. But I ran out of ice, so I'm gonna use some snow because here in Canada we got lots of snow still, even though it just started melting today. So I need 225 grams of water. So we'll start with some snow. 223. Actually, I'm just gonna put the whole thing out of snow. I don't need to add some liquid water. And then we can add the lye. And I need 138 grams. Tar the scale. Okay, I went a little bit over, but it should be fine because I put a little bit more fat also. All right. I'm gonna remove this pine needle. Okay, so I'm gonna let this melt down. And next up is mixing up the fragrance. So this is where I keep all of my raw materials that I use to design fragrance blends. And it's not a huge collection, but it's a good variety of natural and synthetic compounds that I could use to make blends. And I got in that hobby of perfumery during the pandemic when people that got sick actually like were just losing their sense of smells, and I was really scared that it would happen to me because I get so much pleasure out of my own sense of smell. I love to smell things, to discover new smells. Yeah, fragrance is sort of like a hobby of mine, and I started ordering these materials. And most of what I have, most of my collection comes in those small vials that I can use to make more diluted versions that I have here, like 10% solutions that I can then mix up into like compositions and more elaborate mixes. But for making soap, sometimes it's very unpredictable how the ingredients from the soap, especially the lye, is going to affect the fragrance. So I tend to make like more simple blends for my soaps, and I use larger bottles like this. So for today's mix, I'm gonna use linalool, geraniol, alpha pinene, which is pine smell, and some amyl salicylate. And actually, yeah, no, that's it. And I'm gonna mix these up, go back up to finish the soap batter and put it in the mold. All right, so I've got everything ready to go. I have the liquid oils, the melted fats, the fragrance, and the sodium hydroxide solution. Now, the only thing with the lye solution is that there's some debris, or like, I think they're pine needles from the snow, but it's fine. I'll just strain it through. All right, let's get started. Apparently it's good to like use the spatula to pour in so that less air gets mixed into the oils, but I suck at doing that. Okay, so now I'm ready to put the lye into the oils. But that's a little bit time sensitive because once the saponification process starts, I have a limited amount of time to sort of mix everything up and put it in the batter. And I still want to do this like marble design that I was talking about at the beginning. So I got some activated charcoal, which should make the batter black, and some white kaolin, which should make it white. So let's give it a try. I kind of like the look of the batter while it's getting mixed like that. Maybe it's weird, but I kind of want to taste it. It smells pretty good too. Right now it smells a bit like chocolate. Hopefully the scent of chocolate mixes well with the fragrance that I designed. Okay, so now I'm adding the fragrance. And hopefully this doesn't accelerate the saponification too much, because sometimes some oils are known to really accelerate the saponification. Okay, now we're probably good to start mixing in the colors. I'm gonna put a portion of it into this smaller container. And then in this one, I'm gonna put the white clay, just like about a teaspoon. Oh no. Blender again. The soap is starting to get thick already. Okay, so that's a nice dark black color. And now I'm gonna dump this in here. And apparently when you drop it from different heights, it goes at different depths, so it makes a nice effect. But I never tried it, so let's see what happens. And next I go in with a chopstick and just lightly swirl, but not too much. And now it's just pouring into the mold. Well, the effect kind of looks pretty cool already. So see how it's getting thick already? The fragrance smells really good. I can already smell it. It's filling up the space here now. So I put this to let it cure. It takes like overnight and it's already completely saponified. It's completely solid. And I can take it out of the mold. And I can even use it right away. It does take time for all of the moisture to get out, but technically the bars are safe once the saponification is over. So I'm gonna put this, I put this in the oven to keep it warm, because then it allows like the what's called the gel phase to go through the whole thing, and then that way like the bar has like an even consistency throughout. So yeah, I guess I'll see you tomorrow morning when I cut the bars and try them out. So it's the next morning and the soap is ready. Yeah, it smells really good. It makes me think a bit of peony, the flower. My grandmother used to grow them on the side of her house, and it has this really strong smell. Hopefully it stays that way. Sometimes the fragrance in soap sort of fades away with time. All right, so let's demold this. All right. The outside seems to be more black. Oh, it's still, yeah, it's still pretty soft. Maybe I could have waited a little longer before cutting it, but I'm just gonna cut it now. I'm too impatient. I want to see what it looks like inside. Oh, that's pretty cool. Maybe I should have mixed it a little more. Oh, that's nice. I think the swirls are going to be more prominent towards the middle of the loaf. I designed this little 3D printed stamp that's supposed to be my mustache that I stamp on all of my soap, and it just makes it just a little bit more personalized. I press it on. And I guess we can't see it as well with the swirls in it. Well, it shows a bit. Maybe in the white area, it'll show up more. Yeah. I'm a dork. Whatever, I'm having fun. So I stamped all of them. And now I guess I'll give you a demonstration of the lather. This one is just off of the loaf the second day after starting the process, so it's very soft, and so it makes it even creamier. But eventually the other bars are going to get much harder with time, and they'll last longer. But I'll give this one a try. It smells great. Very nice. And my skin feels super soft after also. I love this recipe. All right, thanks for watching.